dear learners, for this course on Design of Machine Elements 1. In this module 3, we were discussing about design of shafts, keys and couplings. So far we have solved 4 numerical problems on design of shafts. Continuing our discussion on numerical problems on design of shafts, we are solving the problem to the question bank which I have attached through the link provided below this video in the description. Kindly use the link provided in the description to get access to the question bank. For that question bank, we are discussing the solution. Continuing our discussion, the problem number 5 of our discussion states that a power transmitting shaft 1400 mm long is supported at its extreme ends. The shaft receives power of 50 kilowatts through a gear drive located 500 mm to the right of the left end of the shaft at a rated speed of 600 rpm. PCD of gear is 200 mm, pressure angle is 20 degree and weight is 500 newtons. This gear receives power from another gear directly behind. This power is delivered through a belt drive located at a distance of 400 mm to the left of right support. The belt pulley has a pitch diameter of 350 mm and weighs 800 newtons. The belt moving on the pulley is directed towards the observer below the horizontal and 45 degree to it. The ratio of belt tension is 3. Selecting carbon steel C40, factor of safety of 2.5, design the solid circular shaft, consider the loading, have minor shocks. So now to clearly understand this problem, I should note down the data and draw the space diagram, which is very important. So we have a line shaft which is supported at its extreme ends. So we have a line shaft supported at its extreme ends. Let me consider a shaft which is supported at its extreme ends like this, and the length of this shaft is given, which is 1400 millimeters. The shaft receives a power of 50 kilowatts through a gear drive located 500 mm to the right of the left end of the shaft. So this is left hand bearing left end. This is right hand bearing to the right of left hand bearing at a distance of 500 mm. So let me consider a distance of 500 mm where we have a gear drive which is receiving the power. So therefore this is driven. The distance is 500 mm from the left hand bearing. All dimensions are in millimeters. With the rated speed of 600 rpm, fixed circle diameter of the gear is 200 mm, pressure angle is 20 degree and weight is 500 newtons. This gear receives power from another gear directly behind it. So this is receiving the power directly behind it. This power is delivered through a belt drive located at a distance of 400 mm to the left of right support. So this is a right support. To the left of right support at a distance of 400 mm, we have a belt drive. So this distance is specified as 400 millimeters. All dimensions are in millimeters. The belt pulley has a pitch diameter of 350 mm and weighs 800 newtons. The belt moving on the pulley is directed towards the observer below the horizontal and inclined at 45 degree to the horizontal. The ratio of belt tension is 3. Selecting carbon steel C40, factor of safety of 2.5, design the solid circular shaft, consider loading to have minor shocks. Now to complete this space diagram, it is not specifying the direction of view, whether and also the sense of rotation. Whenever you face this problem, always you assume. So if I list out the data given, always if the direction sense of rotation is not given, then always assume left side view and prime mover rotates clockwise. So prime mover is the one which is giving power to the shaft. From the shaft, the power is delivered to the sink, that is the receiver. Shaft is an intermediate component between the source and sink. So therefore, shaft receives the power from the source. If shaft is receiving the power from the belt drive, then the shaft rotates in clockwise direction when viewed from left. If the shaft is receiving power with the help of gear drive, then the prime mover gear is rotating in clockwise direction, therefore shaft should rotate in counterclockwise direction. This is because of the reason of external meshing of gear. Again I will repeat, keep that in mind. If shaft receives power with the help of belt drive, then assume that the shaft is rotating clockwise when viewed from left. If the shaft is receiving power from gear drive, then the assumption will be viewing from the left side, the shaft rotates counterclockwise direction. Hope it is clear. We are assuming the prime mover rotates clockwise. From the prime mover, shaft will receive the power. So here shaft is receiving the power from gear and it is delivering out with the help of pulley. So therefore, from the left side view, if I view it, since he has not given, always we will assume left side view. Since it is receiving the power with the help of gear, so this will become driven. So pinion is the prime mover, pinion rotates clockwise, so therefore this driven should rotate in counterclockwise. So the shaft should rotate in counterclockwise direction because this is not the prime mover. Prime mover is pinion which is giving power to the driven gear. So prime mover is rotating clockwise, so therefore driven gear should rotate in counterclockwise. So this assumption you always make if he has not stated in the question. If this pulley is receiving the power, then pulley and prime mover will rotate in same direction. So therefore, then in such cases it is left side view clockwise rotation. Now moving ahead. So this is receiving the power directly from behind. So therefore, if I see from here, so this will be the driven gear mounted on the shaft and it is receiving power directly from behind. So therefore, if I take the projection and onto the right profile plane and if I rotate, so this is the driven gear and is receiving power from the pinion. So we have a gear receiving the power from pinion. So this is the shaft to be designed. So this is gear. So since it is receiving directly from behind, so we are taking it as sense of rotation is counterclockwise direction. So like this we have onto the right profile plane I will project, and if I rotate I am getting it like this. It is receiving power. So therefore this is the point of contact for it. So at this point of contact, since this is a gear, so the direction will be, the tangential force should act in the direction of the sense of rotation. So therefore this is the direction of tangential force Ft, and we have load of the gear Wg, and the Fr should always act inward. So this is the direction of Fr. Now coming for the pulley, is delivering the power towards the observer horizontally and inclined at an angle of 45 degree. So it is delivering power towards the observer. Towards the observer is the you people. So when he says towards the observer and away from the observer, he is speaking with respect to front view. So towards the observer in the sense in front of it, away from the observer in the sense behind. So therefore it is receiving the power in front of the observer. So here it is giving out the power. So here we have the pulley and it is inclined at an angle of 45 degrees like this. So this is a pulley, here we have the receiver. So now I will take the projection onto the right profile plane, and if I will rotate, it will get like this. So here we have the pulley. So this is the receiver in front of the observer. So this is a receiver in front of the observer. So I am taking the projection to the right profile plane, and then I am rotating, so you get the receiver here. So therefore we have pulley and it is giving out power at an angle of 45 degrees in front of the observer. So in front is viewed from the left side view like this. In front in the sense between the shaft and the observer, this is in front. Away from the observer means the shaft will come in between the observer and the receiver. Since it is in front of the observer, we have observer here and we have shaft here. So it is in front angle of 45 degrees. So I am taking the projection to the right profile plane and then I am rotating. So this is about the space diagram. So this completes the space diagram. Now I want to list out the data properly. That is, the shaft receives a power P is given, which is 50 kilowatts, to the gear drive located 500 mm to the right of left end of the shaft with a rated speed. Speed is given, which is 600 rpm. Pitch circle diameter of the gear is given. Let us take it as gear as point B, which is 200 millimeters. Pressure angle is given phi, which is equal to 20 degree. If pressure angle is not given in the question, then always assume the pressure angle as 20 degree involute. And weight of the gear is also specified. So weight is also specified for this problem, that is 500 newtons. The gear receives power from the another gear directly behind. The power is delivered through a belt drive located at a distance of 400 mm to the left of right support. The belt pulley has a pitch diameter. Diameter of the pulley, let us call it as point C, is 350 millimeters. And weight of pulley C is 800 newtons. The belt moving on the pulley is directed towards the observer below the horizontal at an angle of 45 degree. So this is in front and below with theta is equal to 45 degrees. So this is behind. The ratios of belt tension, that is TC1 by TC2 is 3. Selecting carbon steel C40, material C40 steel with a factor of safety as 2.5. Design the solid shaft assuming minor shocks. So this is the space diagram and the data given for the problem. Let us solve this problem. That is, let's solve for gear first, because gear is receiving the power. If I move for solution, let us consider gear. Gear is point B, A, B, C and D. So if I consider gear, the arrangement what is specified is like this. We have a pinion for which we have assumed clockwise rotation. Pinion assumed clockwise rotation. On which is receiving the power, that is gear, which is mounted on the shaft. So this is what the actual left side view looks like. So therefore the gear should rotate in counterclockwise direction to the external machine. So therefore the tangential force acts vertically downwards and the radial force acts always inward. This you people already know. Now pinion, this is the prime mover for us now. So we know the three equations of gear. The first equation is mt is equal to 9.55 into 10 to the power of 6 into p by n. So it's given all the values. So therefore calculating which I will get 9.55 into 10 to the power of 6. Power is 50 kilowatts at a rated speed of 600 rpm. So therefore I will get the torque as 9.55 into 10 to the power of 6 into power is 50 kilowatts at 600 rpm, which is nothing but 795833.33 Newton millimeters. Now using the second equation, that is mt is equal to ft into radius of the gear, we'll get mt is known 795833.33, which is equal to ft into radius of the gear is 100 because diameter is 200. I'll get the value of ft as 7958.3 newtons. So in the third equation of gear, that is Fr is equal to ft into tan phi. We know ft into tan of 20 degrees. Phi is pressure angle given. So I'll get the answer of Fr as 2896.6 newtons. So thereby we have calculated all the forces, that is Fr and Ft of gear. So now the total horizontal force is only Fr. So therefore Fr is, that is total horizontal force is only Fr, which is equal to 2896.6 newtons. So next we have total vertical force. Coming for total vertical force, we have Ft plus weight of the gear, because both are acting vertically downwards. Ft is also acting vertically downwards, weight is also acting vertically downwards. So therefore Ft plus weight of the gear will become 7958.33 plus 500 newtons, which is equal to 8458.33 newtons. So we have calculated total vertical force and total horizontal force. Coming for direction of vertical force, both are acting vertically downward. Coming for horizontal force, if you observe, we are looking at the gear from left side, whereas Fr is moving away from the observer. So therefore, whenever the horizontal force moves away from the observer, I should mark it as vertically downward in the horizontal load diagram. If the horizontal force moves towards the observer, I should mark it as vertically upwards in the horizontal load diagram. Here Fr is moving away from the observer, so therefore I should mark it as vertically downwards in horizontal load diagram. Mark it as vertically downwards in horizontal load diagram. This is because of the reason the horizontal force is moving away from the observer. Next, let us move for gear C, pulley C. So considering pulley C, so the pulley is giving out power like this. So therefore we have a resultant like this at an angle of 45 degrees. This resultant is already known, TC1 plus TC2. So this is what he has specified for us for pulley B, pulley C. Let me resolve it horizontally and vertically. If I resolve it horizontally and vertically, I will get, we have the resultant here. If I resolve it vertically, it will act vertically downwards, horizontally towards like this. So this angle is known to us. This is 45 degree. So this will become TC1 plus TC2 cos 45, and this will become TC1 plus TC2 sin 45, and this is the resultant TC1 plus TC2. Let us calculate these values. So torque remains same because gear is receiving and pulley is giving out. So we know the torque, since the first equation is not required. Now we have two equations, mt is equal to TC1 plus TC2. So TC1 minus TC2 into radius of the pulley. So therefore I will get TC1 minus TC2 is equal to mt by RC. We know the value of mt and radius is 350 by 2. So therefore the equation 1 will become 795833.33 divided by the radius is 350 by 2 because diameter is 350. So equation 1 will become 4547.62 newtons. Let us take this as equation 1. We know another equation, that is ratios of belt tension T1 by T2 is equal to e power mu theta. So here is E himself has been given the value of e power mu theta as 3. So therefore directly we can write the ratios of belt tension is 3. Hence equation 2 will become TC1 minus 3TC2 is equal to 0. So if I solve these two equations, I will get TC1 and TC2. That is solving equation 1 and equation 2, I will get the value of TC1 and TC2 as, moving for equation mode, we have 1 minus 1 4547.62, 1 minus 3 0. TC1 is 6821.4 newtons and TC2 is 2273.81 newtons. So we have found out the value of TC1 and TC2. Now I can find the total horizontal and vertical force. We know the resultant TC1 plus TC2. So now the total horizontal force will be TC1 plus TC2 cos 45 degree, that is 6821.4 plus 2273.81 into cos of 45 degrees. So the resultant is 6431.28 newtons. Now if you observe, TC1 plus TC2 cos 45 is also moving away from the observer. So this is the view direction. When I view from left side, it is moving away from the observer. Therefore I should show it as acting vertically downwards in HLD. showing it as acting vertically downwards in HLD. This is because of the reason the force is acting away from the observer. Now coming for total vertical force, we have Tc1 plus Tc2 sin 45 degree plus, yes, specified the weight Wc. So this is equal to, we have Tc1 6821.4 plus 2273.81 into sin 45 degrees plus weight is 800 newtons. So this is turning out to be 7231.28 newtons. So this will act vertically downwards because both weight and this are acting vertically downwards. So this completes the calculation for us. Now let us transform these forces to the load diagrams. So we have the load diagrams as let me use different chalk. First, if I mark the horizontal load diagram, we have point A, B, C and D. Coming for the forces, horizontal forces acting, we will be having the support reaction RA horizontal and RD horizontal. From gear the horizontal load is 2896.6 acting vertically downwards, 2896.6. Whereas from pulley the horizontal force is also acting vertically downwards, whose magnitude is 6431.28. Now if I draw the vertical force diagram, we have support reactions RA vertical and RD vertical. From here the vertical force is downwards, whose magnitude is 8458.33. From pulley we have vertical load as 7231.28. So this completes the horizontal and vertical load diagrams A, B, C and D. So this is horizontal load diagram, this is vertical load diagram. Now I can find the horizontal and vertical bending moments and finally the resultant bending moment. Thereby I can get the maximum bending moment. If I know maximum torque and maximum bending moment, I can find the diameter required. Let me pause this video for a while so that you people can copy it down. Later we will solve the horizontal and vertical bending moments. Now coming for horizontal bending moments, you know that first we should find the support reactions RAH and RDH. For that we should use summation of force is equal to 0. So if I use that, I get RAH plus RDH is equal to 2896.6 plus 6431.28 into the distance is 1400 minus 500 is 900, counterclockwise negative, and again minus 6431.3 into distance is 400. this must be equal to 0. So solving this, I will get the value of reaction Ra, which is turning out to be, so RAH is 3699.6. Therefore, from this equation, I will get the value of RDH as, which is equal to 5628.3 newtons. So we have calculated both RAH and RDH. So now I can find the bending moments. Now moment about A horizontal is 0. Moment about B horizontal will be RAH into distance. RAH into the distance is 500. Next, moment about RCH is RAH into distance is 1400 minus 400 is 1000. Next we have counterclockwise 2896.6 into the distance is 1400 minus 500 is 900. 900 minus 400 is 500. So let me calculate this. Finally we have MDH is 0. Let me find these answers. What I will get, RAH is 3699.6 into distance is 500. Moment is 1849800 Newton millimeter. For MCH we get 3699.6 into 1000 minus 2896.6 into 500 is equal to 2251,300. So this completes the horizontal bending moment. Next, moving for vertical bending moments. So I should take summation of force acting vertical as 0. If I do that, I will get RA vertical plus RD vertical is equal to 8458.3 plus 7231.3. Now I should take moment about right support and equate it to 0. So taking moment about right support and equating it to 0, I will get RA vertical into 1400 minus 8458.3 into 900 minus 7231 into 400. This must be equal to 0. So therefore, I will get the value as RA vertical will be 7503.6. Now resubstitute RAV here and find the value of RDB. So RDB will be (8458.3) plus 7231.3 minus 7503.6, 8186 newtons. So we have calculated all the forces. Now I can find the bending moment. So coming for bending moment, moment about A vertical is 0. Moment of B vertical will be RA vertical into distance is 500. Coming for moment about C vertical, we have RA vertical into 1000 minus force is 8458.3 into distance is 500. So therefore I will get the bending moments as RA vertical is 7503.3, sorry 0.6 into distance is 500, which yields us the moment as 3751800. 3751800 Newton millimeters. Here I get 7503.6 into 1000 minus 8458.3 into 500, which is turning out to be 327,4450 Newton millimeters. Now moment about D vertical should be equal to 0. Resultant bending moments. We know that resultant bending moment is equal to square root of bending moment horizontal square plus bending moment vertical square. So moment about A is 0, moment about B, moment about C, and moment about D. Moment about D is also 0. Coming for moment about B, horizontal is 1849800 square plus vertical is 3751800 square, which gives us the value as 4183032.785 Newton millimeters. Coming for C, horizontal is 2251300 square plus vertical is 3274450 square, which is turning out to be 3973710.42 Newton millimeters. So the answer is MB is the maximum bending moment. So this is what I require. We know MT, we have calculated the value of MB. Now I can find the value of diameter required. Let me transfer this to diagram. So if I draw bending moment diagrams, we have horizontal bending moment will look like at point B we have 1849800. And at C we have 2251300. Then we move into 0. So this is about horizontal bending moment diagram. This should be linear. This your people already know. Point A, B, C, D. Coming for vertical bending moment diagram, we have at A it is 0, at B we have 3751800. Next we have 3274450. And then we have 0 at B. So this is the variation of vertical bending moment diagram. All units are in Newton millimeters. We are plotting in Newton millimeters. So finally we have resultant bending moment diagram as at B we have 418 032.8 and B we have 397310. So since this is a resultant, let me use different chalk to mark. So this is the resultant, what is required, from which we have noted down this as the maximum. So this is resultant bending moment diagram in Newton millimeters. Let me pause this video for a while so that you people can copy it down. Next we will solve for diameter required. Now moving ahead for final part to calculate the size of the shaft required. He has given the material as C40 steel. So therefore from referring to appendix 1 page number 464 for C40 steel, the yield stress is 324 megapascals. So from our design data handbook, referring to appendix 1 page number 464, for C40 carbon steel sigma yield is 324 megapascals. So this data is available in our design data handbook written by K. Madhavan and K. Balbir Reddy. We are referring 4th edition. So we know the value of sigma yield. He has given factor of safety. So therefore, if I use factor of safety, sigma allowable is equal to sigma yield by factor of safety. So therefore, 324 by 2.5 will be 129.6 megapascals. And also we know that tau yield is 0.5 times sigma yield. So therefore I will get tau yield as 324 by 2, it is 162 megapascals. So this you people already know. So now tau allowable will be tau yield by factor of safety, which yields us 162 divided by 2.5, that is 64.8 megapascals. So we know sigma allowable, we know tau allowable. We can use both maximum shear stress theory and maximum normal stress theory. Adopt the larger diameter for safe design. Let us do that. Apart from that, he has asked us to solve for solid shaft. For solid shaft, the value of diameter ratio is 0. This also you know. Next, coming for minor shocks. So from table 3.1a for minor shocks, the fatigue and shock combined correction factors CM and CT are CM varies from 1.5 to 2, so therefore I should take it as average 1.75. CT varies from 1 to 1.5, therefore I should take it as 1.25 average values. So we know all the values are prerequisites to determine the diameter. So now I can find the diameter. First one, from maximum normal stress or from maximum shear stress theory, we know that the equation for diameter is given by 16 by pi tau allowable into square root of Cm mb square plus Ct mt square into 1 by 1 minus k to the power of 4 whole to the power of 1/3. So if I substitute and solve, I will get d is equal to 16 by pi times tau allowable is 64.8 into root of Cm is 1.75, mb is 418303.2.8 whole square plus CT is 1.25 into MT is 79583 whole square. If I substitute k as 0, this will become unity, so whole to the power of 1/3. So if I solve, I will get the diameter as I will get the diameter D as 83.4 to mm, which is nearly equal to 85 millimeters. So diameter is 85 millimeters from maximum shear stress theory. If I verify from maximum normal stress theory, we know that from maximum normal stress theory, diameter D is given by 16 by pi sigma allowable into Cm mb plus square root of Cm mb square plus Ct mb square into 1 by 1 minus k to the power of 4 whole to the power of 1/3. Now if I substitute all the values and solve, I will get the value of D as 16 by pi into sigma allowable is 129.6 into Cm is 1.75 into Mb is 418303.2.8 plus root of Cm is again 1.75 into Mb is 4183032.8 square plus 1.25 into 795,833.3 square into 1 whole to the power of 1/3. So we get the value of diameter as D is equal to 83.2987, which is nearly equal to 85 millimeters. From both the theories, we are finding that diameter is 85 millimeters. Adopt diameter for this problem as 85 millimeters. So this is the solution for this given problem. The required diameter of the shaft is 85 millimeters. That's all from this lecture. Thank you all.